Hey everybody, it's Debbie O'Neill. Welcome back to my 12 days of Cricut Christmas crafts, and today is day 9 and we're going to be making a floating memorial ornament. I've had a lot of requests to show people step by step the entire process, so that's what I'll be doing in this tutorial. So we will be working with creating our own, how do you take a photo and how do you slice the image out. We'll also be I'll teach you how to do the words that you want to use on your ornament. The one I chose was the "because someone we love is in heaven, there's a little bit of heaven in our home." That's kind of the traditional memorial ornament phrase. But we're going to be working with the text. I'm going to show you how to use 2 different fonts and how to size and move them around so that you can get them onto your ornament. And then also, of course, I will be showing you how to put it inside your ornament so you can have a beautiful memorial floating ornament. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about the supplies you're going to need. Okay, let's talk about the supplies that you're going to need to make the floating memorial ornaments. And this is what they're going to look like when you finish it. Okay, so it is completely clear, and because we're using a transparency to print on. So these are 4-inch flat disc ornaments. I bought mine at Michael's. They sell them either individually or they sell them in a set of 4. And you can also get them, I think somebody told me they saw theirs at Walmart. There's a bunch of online retailers, but what you want is the 4-inch flat disc. So it's round when you look at it this way, but when you turn it this way, it's not a ball shape, it's more of a disc shape. So that's really important to make these. Okay, so you need one of these, or however many you want to make, but we're going to be working with one. And then you can get something, if you want to get some ribbon or something to tie around there, you can. I did not do that on mine. I use a kind of a decorative hanger for my floating memorial ornaments, and I get those at Hobby Lobby, and they come in a pack, and I don't know, I don't remember how many are in a pack, but there's several in a pack, and they were $1.99, and they always have them with the Christmas stuff. All right. Then, of course, you will need to have your transparency. So a lot of what I'm seeing is that people are printing on completely smooth transparencies. And what you're looking for, though, is you need one that is for an inkjet printer transparency. Okay. Now, I highly recommend this Apollo brand. It's a quick dry inkjet printer transparency film, and it works in any inkjet printer. And you need to have an inkjet printer to be able to do print then cut. Okay, I use a HP Envy 5660. I love that printer. It's a couple of years old now. There's some newer models. I'll try to link some up in the description of the video for you guys in case you are looking for one. But what you want is you want a transparency that is flat on one side, but the other side has a rough texture to it, because that means that you can print on it, and you're going to print on the rough texture side. I'm going to explain all of this in the tutorial, but you're going to want to have something like this to be able to print on. Just a piece of acetate, your ink is not going to dry on that acetate, and it's going to smear, and you're not going to be very happy. So you definitely want to get an inkjet printer transparency film. These can be found at Office Depot. I bought mine online at Amazon. I'll provide some links for you guys. You'll also need just a Cricut light grip mat for the transparencies is what I recommend. And of course you'll need your Cricut Explorer, Cricut Maker machines, and of course a printer and your computer for Design Space. So let's go into Design Space and start creating our ornaments. Okay, so ready to get started. We're going to make our floating memorial ornaments. Here on your left is one that I made. This is a picture of my father who passed away a couple of years ago. And this is you're going to have this template, this one right here. And this is the inside piece that you're going to put inside your ornament. Okay, this is the floating part. This is the transparency. Okay, so you're going to have this on your mat. And then we need to upload a photo that you want to use. So we're going to go over to upload, and you're going to go upload image, and then you're going to click browse. You're going to go to wherever your photos are on your computer and pick the photo that you want to use. And it's going to go through that process. It will take a few minutes because your photo images are big. So I just picked one of the photos that I liked, and I picked this one. So I would click on this. It's going to upload it, but I'm not going to do that on screen. You guys can follow along. Just click. Once you click on that, it's going to come up, and then it's going to set it for you. Okay, so I'm going to click cancel for right now. So when it goes through the whole process, it's going to end up being here where underneath uploads, it'll be one of your images down here. Okay, so if you want to play with 2 or 3 different ones, you could upload all your photos at the same time, but it takes a few minutes for Cricut to upload a JPEG that's a photo image. So don't be alarmed if it seems like it's not working, because all of a sudden it's going to come up fine. Okay, and then you're just going to add it to your uploaded images. So when you go to grab it to put it onto your mat, you'll see it down here. Okay, this is your recently uploaded images, and it's only going to show a few of them. Okay, and then if you click view all, it will show all of your uploaded images. Okay, so so don't feel like they've disappeared. A lot of people ask me that, so I just wanted to show you. But we're going to pick this one, and I'm just highlighted it. And then I'm going to come over here to insert images, and it will take a second or two for this to come up into Design Space even after you've already uploaded it. Okay, and it's going to come in super huge, so don't worry about that. I'm just going to come over here and change it to, I don't know, 4 wide or something. It doesn't need to be very big. Okay, so now it's changed it. All right, so I've got my photo. If yours comes in bigger, you can always just use the grab bar and make it smaller, because we're going to crop one of the photos, the photo of the picture you want to use, and it's going to come over here just like this. Okay, that's why I left mine here, so you can use it kind of as a guideline when you make yours. Okay, so here is photo that we uploaded, and then I'm going to come over here to shapes, and I'm just going to pick a circle. Okay, but that circle, I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to move it till it looks like it's more oval shape. I'm going to get it so it's going to fit over the image for my photo. Okay. Once you get it the size that it's going to go around your photo image, the face of the person that you want to use, then highlight the photo and that shape that we just put over the top of it. And now in your layers panel down here, it says slice. So we're going to hit slice, and we're going to pull this away, and we're going to pull this away, and there is the image that we're going to use. And then you can just get rid of this, and you don't need this. Okay, so once you have your photo of the person, now I do recommend that you try to pick a photo that has good contrast and good coloring on it. Okay, so you can see the one that I picked of my dad, it's got a dark background, which is good, because then this stands out more, his face stands out more, and the fact that he has a lighter color shirt on also helps with the overall photo when we go to print all this. Okay, so once you have your photo, then you're going to have it over here, and then you want to add your words. All right, so I will leave you guys how I sized mine, but I want to show you how I did it, because it's important for you to know. Okay, so we're going to come over here to text, and we're going to type in our words. So I'm going to say, because someone we, and then love, is in heaven, there is a little bit of heaven. And there's a bunch of different sayings, so you guys can pick whatever you want. I'm just going to show you how you get it sized and everything. Okay, so once we have this, okay, I'm just going to make this smaller so you guys can see it. Okay, don't worry about sizing it just yet. Okay, I'm just moving it so you guys can see it a little easier. Come on, Design Space. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got our words that are going to fit in this circle, but I want to change the fonts for these, and how I'm going to do that is I'm going to highlight everything that I just typed in, and then I'm going to come up here to Advanced and I'm going to change it to ungroup the lines, okay? Not ungroup each letter, you want to ungroup each line. So I'm going to change ungroup to each line, and then now each one of these lines of text is separate from each other, okay? So you can then go in and change the font for that particular line. So because everything I did, I just typed in Cricut Sans because that's the default. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change because I'm going to come over here to fonts, and what I'm using is a system font that is Brandon Ball F, and I downloaded it from the font onto my computer, and then when I opened up Design Space the next time, it was available for me to use in Design Space. Okay, it's a free font, so I am able to use it. So I'm going to pull that out. Now I want this to look like it's welded, like the word is all one, not the letters are separate. So I'm going to come over here, highlight it, and come over here to letter spacing. Okay, and I'm just going to keep scrunching those until the letters are all touching each other, and it still looks okay. Okay, once I've done that, then I'm going to come down here, and in my layers panel, my weld option is available. So I'm going to click weld, and now it's taken those separate letters and made it into one word. Okay, so I know that this is going to come over here. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to set here, and we can size everything in a minute. I just want to, you know, kind of start putting it down where I want it. And then someone we, I'm leaving it just the way it is, but I am going to make it a little smaller. I'm just grabbing it and making it smaller. This is easy, guys. It's not as hard as it looks. And then I'm going to hit the word love, and I want to go back to making that the Brandon Ball one. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to do that exact same thing where I'm going to go into my letter spacing and just keep clicking down until all those letters are touching each other like that. That looks good. And then I'm going to click weld again down here in my bottom of my layers panel. Okay, so there we've got this. And there again, you know, like I said, I'll play around with the wording here in a minute, the sizing. I'm just trying to get it about where I want it, and then we can play with it some. I'm going to move Dad's photo down here. Okay, so in heaven, I'm leaving that in the Cricut Sans font, so I'm just going to make it smaller and stick it right in here. And we'll make it even a little smaller. Okay, and then there is going to be back in that Brandon Ball font. But before I do this, let me show you. So if I go ahead and I change it to Brandon Ball, what's going to happen is that it has now made each of those letters the Brandon Ball font, except there's a lot of space between all the words on that line. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to do ungroup the letters on just this one line, and then I'm going to move these myself over, and all I'm doing is dragging them. You can use your arrow key if you want. Okay, until I get it all the way that I want it to be. Just move them over. Okay, and then this I can then highlight that, and then I can go over here and weld that word. Okay, so I welded that one separately. Okay, and then is, I'm going to come over here to is, I'm going to move that S over to the I. Then I'm going to group that one, and then I'm going to hit weld again. Okay, so now those are all together, and then the A we don't have to worry about because it's separate. Okay, so this way I can get this on here. Okay, so I'm just getting all the letters on here the way I want them. Okay, and little bit I'm leaving in the Cricut Sans font. So you can really play around with this and kind of make it whatever looks best to your eye, and use whatever fonts that you prefer, but this is kind of a traditional with a more cursive font and then a Sanskrit font. Okay, and then heaven is going to stay in the same thing, but notice that I typed heaven in all caps. Okay, and then in our home is going to stay, and then home is going to be in the Brandon ball. Okay, so we're going to go back over to Brandon ball, and don't worry about the spacing. We're going to come clean this up in a minute. Okay, so there again, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go into letter spacing, and I'm going to just keep dropping that arrow down until all these letters are close together. And then once it looks good, then I'm going to come over here to weld and weld the word together. Okay, so now that looks perfect. Okay, so now we're going to go back up here and we're going to play with our spacing. Feel free to ungroup, unlock, and move your letters around until you get it about the way you want. You just want it to be within the circle. Okay, so it's got to be within the circle. Going to move these up in here. Oops, and sometimes you grab the back circle. Don't worry about it, just put it back where it was. Okay, and then a little bit needs to come up. Whoops, I did it again. See, it's easy to do that. Okay, heaven. Now heaven needs to be a little bit smaller. And then home's going to go right there. Okay, so once you get this so that it's sized where you want it to be, okay, then what I want you to do is we're going to click on the background here, and we're going to come over here in our layers panel, and we're going to change that to white. Okay, and then I want you to click that off. We're going to hide it. Okay, so we're going to change here where the little eye is. We're just going to click that off, and then you're going to find where your photo is, where you slice it. It'll say slice result, and we're going to turn that one off. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to highlight all these words, and we're going to attach them. Okay, so now they're attached, and you can go back in and turn your photo back on and your circle. Okay, so once all that's together, then you're going to just highlight the whole thing, and you're going to come down here to where it says flatten, and now everything is attached onto your circle piece. Okay, so now that we have this, then we're going to be able to send it to the printer. We're going to go through that whole process, and you're going to see how all this works, and you make your ornament. Easy peasy, right? So now that we have our image ready to get to cut and print, we're going to go over to where it says make it and click make it, and it's going to come bring it up on our design space screen, and this is the print screen. Okay, so you're going to notice that it has a banding, this black banding box around here. That's the registration marks, and you do not see the circle on here. That's perfectly normal. You're not going to see the circle because it's just going to print it and cut it out on whatever it is that you put it in to your printer. Okay, so we're using a transparency, so it is transparent because we made it a white background, so it's not going to print the white, it's going to print it on clear onto our transparency. So but you're not going to see the circle, so don't think you did anything wrong. And so once we do this, then we can see that it's the print and cut screen in our matte preview here. And then we're going to say continue. Okay, so now that we've got our image ready, now it's time to print. So I wanted to remind you, I'm using the Apollo Quick Dry Inkjet Printer Transparency Film. This is made to use in inkjet printers. The key here is that it's a fast drying formula so that you'll be able to get your ornaments made a little bit faster than having to wait for it to dry very long. And it also has this sensor strip on the top of it, and this allows your printer to grab this and be able to push it through. Okay, so when you take these out of the package, you're going to notice that one side feels rough to the touch and the other side feels smooth. Now in my printer, I use an HP NV 5660. I needed to put the smooth side facing up in the tray, and the rough side is facing down in the printer tray. Okay, and you want to put it so that when you put it in your printer tray, you're going to put the white strip in towards inside of the printer tray. Okay, and so for my printer, I needed to put it smooth side up and rough side down. Now depending upon your printer and how it feeds through, you may need to reverse that. So you can do a test on a piece of paper and write like an F for face up or something, and then go ahead and just feed something through just to test it if you want. But I wanted to point that out before you guys started with these. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do the printing. Okay, so now we're at the print screen in Design Space, and I want you to, you'll see your image over here, and it says print and then cut, right? Because you're going to need to send it to your printer first for it to print. So we're going to hit send to printer. Make sure you follow the steps that I explained in the video about positioning your transparency into your printer appropriately. Now, before you send it to your printer, I want you to come down here to where it says Advanced Options. Click on that, and it'll take a second, but it's communicating with your printer, and it's coming up with your printer dialog box. So my printer is selected. I use a HP NV 5660 inkjet printer, and I'm going to make sure it's highlighted on that, and I'm going to come over here where it says Preferences. Then when it says Preferences, I'm going to go over, it has Layout, Paper Quality, and then Printing Shortcut. When it says that, I'm going to come over here to where it says Print Quality. Now your dialog box may look different depending upon your printer, but what you want to find is where it says Print Quality, and you want to change that to Best. Okay, and that's going to give you the best picture possible, and then we're going to say okay, and then you're going to hit your print button, and it's going to send it to your printer. Okay, so my printer has done the printing. Let me show you. It turned out great. Okay, it looks really good. Everything looks nice. Now, I did want to point out, if you have not done print and cut before, you do need to calibrate your printer, and there's steps that you follow for that, and I have a video, so if you don't know that, I'll link the video up. But once you do print and cut, it's going to put this black box around your image. That is the sensor marks for your Cricut to be able to cut it out. So it's going to read all over those. Now, I wanted to wait a couple of minutes to make sure that my ink was completely dry before I put this in my Cricut machine. Okay, so wait a couple of minutes, wait till it's completely dry. Then you're just going to put it on your Cricut mat like you normally would to cut something out. And I'm using a light grip Cricut mat, and this is a new one, or fairly new, so it's got a good grip on it, and I'm just going to lay that on there. Okay, so I just want to lightly make sure it's on my mat. All right, then I'm going to feed this through my Cricut like I normally would. Okay, you're going to pick, and there's a transparency setting in for your cut material, so you're going to pick that, and then you're going to follow along and cut this out, and then we're going to work on what do we do next to get it inside our ornament. Okay, so we're back in Design Space, and when we have printed, it'll show up here that you've printed it, you've sent it to your printer, it's printed out, then you'll add it to your mat like I showed you, and then you need to go over here to Browse Materials on your Cricut Design Space screen, and we're going to scroll all the way down past paper to the next category, which is plastic. Okay, so you're going to go down to plastic and you're going to click transparency. Now if you're using a Cricut Explore machine, you're going to turn yours to custom setting and then come find the transparency. Okay, Cricut Maker users can just go straight in. All right, so we've got transparency set. I'm going to click done, and then we're going to be ready to cut. So it does use just the regular fine point blade in your Cricut machine, so no special blade is needed, and you're just going to load it and cut it. Okay, and now we're on our final step, and that is how do you get your transparency into the inside of your 4-inch flat ornament. Now these, like I mentioned before, I had purchased these at Michael's. But you can get them, I think Walmart carries them. There's a bunch of places, but I'm using a 4-inch one. If you want to use a smaller one, then you need to resize your template to fit inside your ornament. But we're using a 4-inch one. What you're going to do is you're going to just take the cap off, okay, set that aside. Then what you want to do is I'm going to roll this in, and I'm not bending it, I am rolling it, okay? And you're going to roll that, and then where we have our little tab at the top is going to need to be still in the top position, and you're going to put it into your ornament. And then I like to hold my tab as I get this in there, and then it goes in perfectly. Okay, so that looks great. And it will fit just exactly like that. And then you're going to put your cap back on, and there's little 2 wires here that hold that, and I'm going to put that. Now I like to make sure that those 2 wires are going behind the transparency when I put them in. Okay, and then I just want to squeeze this top on. Now some people like to go ahead and add a little bit of glue on the inside of this. I've never had to do that because these are lightweight, so they don't really have that issue with it being too heavy and needing to add extra glue. It's perfectly fine. And then I actually like to use, I bought these from Hobby Lobby. They're from their Christmas shop collection. They have them every year. They're ornament hooks, and they just look really elegant. And I'm not going to add a lot of ribbon or anything on this because it's for my dad. That's a picture of my dad. And I'm not going to add any ribbon on here, but you could certainly go back and add some ribbon around the side if you know, around the top here, if you want to add some ribbon to add a little color to it. But I hope you guys enjoy this. It's not as difficult as it looks, and the Cricut makes it so much easier to do this. And I hope you guys enjoy making your memorial ornaments.